Hi, my name is Tom Florence, and this is my video for the Jeff Lawton PDC Design project. My subject property is a 180-acre farm in southwest Tennessee. Previously used as a working farm. It's undergone years of neglect. Recently, a part of the farm was clear cut before we purchased it. We're located approximately 35 degrees 6 minutes north latitude and 88 degrees 36 minutes west longitude. Climate is temperate with generally mild winters with numerous days below freezing and light snows for most years. Our summer season is generally very warm with temperatures reaching above 100 per days at a time during the peak of the summer. Our average annual rainfall is 60 inches per year with a 100-year maximum 24 rainfall of between 7 and 8 inches. We're really hundreds of miles from any coastline, and we don't experience any significant coastal influence. Property is rolling hills located between 420 and 500 feet mean sea level with varying slopes and solar exposures, and our prevailing winds are from the southwest. Property is shown in this figure, and it's very regularly shaped, and it's outlined in red. You'll see there, and the land use history is as a small farmstead in prior years. It was neglected for at least 5 years, and really haven't made any improvements. Our soil testing indicated we had a number of shortcomings in the soil with at excessively low pH. The land really requires some lime or some augmentation. A lot of areas are having rain runoff due to the rains and the poor management and kind of the overall weak conditions of the soil. Here you'll see a topographical map of the property, and you'll see the hillsides and some of the steeper areas, a lot of the cuts along the ridge, and you'll see how we've utilized those as both habitat and Zone 4 areas as well. Here's a sector diagram of the property. So we have a number of important factors in the property, including the wind sector, generally from the southwest. We do have a fire hazard really from the south and flowing with the wind from the agricultural areas. Summer sun is obviously from the south, winter sun to a lesser extent. We have a noise sector that results from the agricultural activity down the hill from us and to the west. Activity with it's actually GMO corn down the hill from us, and they regularly have to work those fields. Shown here is a zone map of the property. It's a fairly large property. You'll see that all 5 zones are represented on this map. The Zone 1 area and Zone 2 are shown in the western point on a hill, not exactly the highest point of the property, but very near to being the highest point of the property. Zone 3 is an extended pasture area. It has been used as a pasture historically. It's already been cut off. The grasses are in variable condition depending on what part of the pasture you're on. We do plan to put down some lime this year and get the pH within an acceptable zone, and then we can maintain that with other methods. You'll see a split Zone 4. We have 2 different Zone 4s for managed woodlot and food forest, and then a Zone 5 wildlife region you'll see in the northeastern part of the property. One of the challenging portions of this design was the mainframe due to the terrain. Managing this water and the runoff we viewed as a primary challenge to us in being able to maximize the utility and sustainability of the property. You'll see on this map a number of features in the mainframe design. The first of which obviously is the main driveway. It enters the property from the south and immediately crosses over what is now a steep valley. And during wet days, that's tough to negotiate, and we're going to install a levee to serve multiple purposes there. One is to make the driveway more passable, and the other is to provide us a basic catchment back in that valley to form the first of our ponds. Moving up the driveway, I guess, is one way to do this. You'll see the some long southern swales along those fields. The driveway runs along the upper ridge of the property, and the rainfall flows to both sides of the driveway primarily. There's long swales in those pastures to catch that water, and you'll see those are coupled into a couple of ponds up on the western side that are part of the western swale system. You'll see the smaller swales as you move north on the western side. Those are channeling the water from the hills, and we plan to couple that into the pond system and collect all that water. Moving counterclockwise, you'll see the cabin and the road and the Zone 1 and Zone 2 areas. There's also a Zone 2 swale system on the northern and eastern part of that point to capture water moving down those slopes. We will have fruit trees and a fruit forest on that part of the property as well. Continuing around in a clockwise direction, you'll see what we're calling the eastern swale system. This is the most neglected part of the property. It's a large field with a significant slope, though manageable with the right set of features in the terrain. We're installing 2 or 3 major swales with fruit trees, forage for animals, and support species on those. Those will be coupled in and feed eventually to what we're calling the lower pond. We're going to install a small levee and back up the water up in that valley and collect and hold water at that point on the property. Though it is low on the property, we think it's worth catching that water there and holding it for use later on for different purposes. We may have to actually pump it, but we think it's worth having it there. You'll notice on the eastern side of the property, the eastern pond, that's a valley that we're going to dam up and use for a mixed use pond for both aquaculture and as a backup source of irrigation water for some Zone 4 activities back on that part of the property. And then in the center of the property, you'll see what we call the high point tank. I'm hoping to be able to hook up a low flow solar power pump to move water up to that tank and store the energy from the sun and the head on the water to be able to use that at different places across the property without having a pump. Here you see the Zone 1 and Zone 2 areas in more detail. Again, this is that western point on the property, and you'll notice that we're using terraced gardens along the southern slope of the property. It's a little bit too much slope to not terrace it or do something similar. We're using a lot of fruit trees in the Zone 2 area. Zone 1, we plan to have rabbits, quail, some other small livestock probably. We do have a local water tank there, and eventually we'll have a cistern based on the roof capture from the cabin that exists there. We have herb gardens and worm beds planned for the shady side of the property. And again, we're going to have fruit trees on both the north and south sides of the Zone 1, completely wrapping around the Zone 1. In the Zone 2, you see we've made provisions for some poultry tractoring, either ducks and or chickens, maybe both. But the home here is planned as I guess a 2-level home, partially buried the first level, so that we get some earth contact and allow us to bank some heat in a thermal mass in the wintertime, but be able to take advantage of the cool earth during the summertime. The roof lines of this home are extended roof lines to give a lot of shade. We're planting deciduous trees in addition to the ones that are already there on both the west and south sides of the property, so that we'll have more shade in the summertime for the residents. Yet in the wintertime, when the leaves are gone, we get a lot more sun through there to be able to capture that. As I said before, the roof system, it's a metal roof, and we're taking advantage of that to capture up to 200 gallons at a time right now. We're probably going to install a bigger tank later on as well and build a cistern and integrate it with the structure in the future. Again, my name's Tom Florence. I appreciate you listening to my video. Thank you.